Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Heliopsychosis podcast. This is your host Vikka Draziv. Guys, welcome to the show. If you're watching us from YouTube, do comment, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. And if you're watching us from Fern or Heliopsychosis group on Facebook, do comment and tag your friends to join the show. And finally, if you're watching us from realtruthseekers.net .rts.video, we have a huge community there. So welcome, guys, too. And before we jump in our today's show, and what a special show we have got today, just wanted to make an announcement that right today I'm going to share the screen. Just give me a second, guys. Uh, okay. Oops. Just a minute. Share screen and the whole. All right. I don't know if you can see the page. This is Truth in Plain Sight, one of my main page on Facebook. And just today happened to be that we reached 25,000 subscribers just today on Truth in Plain Sight. So make sure, guys, if you haven't following or if you want to support the page, you can even become a supporter. So right today, what an awesome day to be there. All right, so let's get into our guests. One of my first co-hosts, like always, Jeannie. Jeannie, welcome. Jeannie, how are you?
I'm doing really great, Vika. I'm getting rain here too, so I hope my audio doesn't go out. Um, so I'm spinning around the ball right now at 750 miles an hour in the USA, allegedly, and I'd like to welcome everybody to the show. Vika put another awesome panel here together. I'd like to welcome everybody. If you're in the audience for the first time, welcome, and to everybody else, thanks for coming back. You must be having a good time, like we all are. And I like to say out there to Dr. Frankenstein, his wife just gave birth to a baby boy. Congratulations, Dr. Frankenstein. And I hope
Oh
you're out there.
yeah.
Yeah, yep. And welcome, everybody. Thanks for being here.
Welcome, Jeannie.
Welcome,
Always
welcome.
great to have you, like always. Keith, are you with us today, Keith?
I'm here. Good to be here with you again.
Awesome. Keith also is one of our supporter. He runs few groups on Facebook, Flat Earth, and he's just behind the troll all the time. He shares most of our stuff, and he's also a regular guest on our show. Keith, welcome, brother.
Thank you.
And then we've got, oh man, it's the first time we have him here finally. One of the star of Flatten the Curve, the Merchant Marine. Also my good friend Francis Miller. Are you there, Francis?
Yeah, I'm here. How you doing, Vika? Glad to be here. Such an honor.
Excellent, brother. We want to thank you for your contribution for the documentary.
Oh,
And
my pleasure, my pleasure.
awesome, brother. Great to have you. Hope we have a great conversation today. And
Oh
finally,
yeah, excellent.
awesome, and finally, our special guest for tonight. He doesn't need really no introduction, So we know he's one of the main person from Planet community. It's Mark Sargent. Mark, it's such an honor to have you here. Mark, welcome.
Hey, thanks, guys. Very, very, very happy to be here.
The pleasure is our Mark. We want to say thank you for uploading our trailers and the documentary. It really means a lot for us. So
Oh yeah,
and
no, I liked it. I really enjoyed it. Reminded me a lot of the subject matter episodes that I did back in the day. So good stuff.
Yeah, it's
yeah,
an honor
and
to be
you
in this panel with you there, Mark.
Oh,
Watch all your stuff, man. I'm
thank
really,
you,
really, really honored.
thank you.
Absolutely, guys.
oh yeah, so you even it's like Flatten the Curve by Vikka Draziv is almost like you created a hashtag and it's everywhere, Mark. It's everywhere. You are on BitChute. It's all different sites. It's so that's really so. Thank you so much for that, Mark, and
Oh,
welcome to
you
the
know,
show,
I,
brother.
I was it was my pleasure, and I'm glad it generated the amount of buzz because it was well earned.
Oh yeah, it was a collaboration, Mark. Everybody just collaborated, all of us, each and every individual, from the ones who were participating and from the production team. It was just pure collaboration. That's why we think we had that energy, everybody there to get the truth out. So yeah, we were quite happy with the outcome.
Very cool.
So Mark, we jump in with you. I had a couple of few questions, but I'm going to
Hmm.
start with. I've heard few of your podcasts and a bit of your experience about your flat earth, but
Hmm.
what what is your personal favorite flat earth proof that got you?
Oh wow, my favorite. Well, the one that got me, the one that really pushed me over into making the clues in the first place was the Antarctic Treaty, which most people don't even read. There's been lots of copies of it thrown around there, but not a lot of people read. Which is that no corporation can set up shop down in Antarctica ever. From any country, no matter how much money you bribe, and that was a big red flag for me because this world is still based on greed and money and power, and yet all that greed and money and power, well, most of it can't get you there, can't get you in Antarctica. I was going, well, that's kind of a big standout. Um, the one that most people go for is the photography, but the one that I love now more than anything is the gravity versus the vacuum of space, because I can't get anyone in science to answer that question. Meaning, if supposedly the science says that gravity is holding our atmosphere down, and yet we can prove all day long that the power of the force of a vacuum. And I know people don't like hearing that term, but it's true. That a vacuum can beat gravity any day of the week. So what is happening out there? The example I give real quick, which is if you're in your room and you put a vacuum chamber above you and you have a valve and you pull the switch, you pop that valve, what happens? The air will instantly violently rush upstairs, and you probably shouldn't even be in that room when it happens. So when you walk outside, why is our atmosphere still here? And people will immediately knee jerk to, well, gravity. And I go, you mean the same gravity that couldn't keep the air in your room from going upstairs? That exact same gravity? And then they get stuck. They don't know where to go. I mean, science has yet to tell me. I go, what happens? What happens at the edge of space where our atmosphere meets space? Tell me what happens there. And no one can do it. It's all straight up theory that no one ever talks about. Anyway, sorry, long-winded answer.
So last, I think not the last one, Mark. I think the before one we did exactly about the Antarctica Treaty, and we were discussing some things and came up with seeing and analyzing the old maps and everything. We
Mm-hmm.
are quite sure that the Antarctica Treaty is more than 500 years old. I presented some maps there where it literally shows that map, Monte Urbano map. I don't know if you heard of that, and you have the names of the countries which own them, and that's 500 years old. So the Antarctica Treaty being only 50, 60 years old is just a show.
Oh
We
yeah,
had a whole show about that, and we were discussing it quite in detail. So one of the fact about that, yep.
that's a great angle, by the way, and that wouldn't surprise me, because if Antarctica was always off limits long before we got there, then the treaty
Right.
that we put in place was just a shell on top of something that predates all of our exploration. So yeah, that makes perfect sense to
Yeah.
me. I like it.
It was. It was like a revision of it. They
Yeah,
settled. They had their differences. They settled them up and
yeah,
came out with it.
I could see it. Antarctica is a weird place that not many. I mean, 99% of the public doesn't know anything about.
Right.
The fact that during World War II, there was exactly one country down there, which was Nazi Germany. And they, whatever. And that, again, that makes sense because the Germans were very clear. It's like, we will go anywhere to find something that will help us win the war, meaning the war to take over the world.
Mm.
And I know I kind of joke, I say, that Indiana Jones wasn't just a movie, but it's true. I mean,
No.
if Frodo's ring was around, they would find it. If Harry Potter's wand was real, they would find that
It's in the
too.
Yeah.
Vatican.
yeah, exactly. All these things, they would hunt these things down if they could. Why wouldn't they? You know, all's fair in love and
Yeah.
war. So
Yeah.
anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, anyone want before I go ahead? Continue?
Well, I think movies and music point a lot of these things out as in 10 years or so, even before things happen. So the Indiana Jones things, like Back to the Future, has a scene with when he says, "We don't want to run into some mysterious past that never happened with gigantic trees."
Yeah, I was
And
just
it's,
watching that yesterday with my brother.
is that interesting? Little
Yep.
10-second clip that, to me, that not a whole movie focuses on these things. You
What
know?
it is, it's we are given an inversion. And
Right,
if
a
you've just
twisted.
gotten into everything's inverted, and they lie to us in our news, and they give us
Yeah,
truth gems in our movies.
absolutely. Yeah, we were talking about the moon last week, and one of the first movies 20 years after cinematography came out, they did the first sci-fi movie was called A Trip to the Moon. The audience might want to YouTube that; it's pretty interesting, and I'm going to check it out more thoroughly because I heard that there's little eggshells, or what do they call them, Easter eggs in there that they're
Yeah,
showing 13 of these, meaning that there's 13. That's one of their numbers they love. They
yep,
show things all the time.
yeah.
Yeah, all the time. That's
A
what
lot
they.
of it has to do, I believe, with also they're telling us, and if there's any like karmic responsibility that they have with their plans,
Right.
they are literally showing it to us right in our face, but we take it as, oh, it's just entertainment.
Yeah,
But
and
they're not telling, you know what I mean?
no, they're not kidding around. And you know that the devil has to be invited into your house. You can't just walk in uninvited. And
Exactly. I
I get a
like that
lot of.
analogy.
I get. Thanks. I get a lot of out of that because if you like in between the football game halftime shows, the superb owl,
Yeah.
things like that. I stopped all my media. I shut down for that 20 minutes. I just meditated through those minutes
Did you
because
happen
I'm
to
not
catch the Maserati commercial? I think it was the 2014 or 15, 2015 Super Bowl. There was a Maserati commercial. You can
okay.
look it up, and basically, it is saying in plain sight that the evil
Right.
ones, the devil, whatever you want to look at it, has
Right.
prepared himself, and he's stepping out into the light, and they're ready to strike. It's a very
Show 'em.
eerie, chilling commercial.
Yeah, yeah, but I haven't seen it though. No, I don't watch a lot of TV.
Yeah,
That day, that Super Bowl thing, it's so hard to avoid. I have to go crawl
right.
under a rock.
Yeah, once you get into flat Earth, man, you really don't. I used to be a movie buff. I'd watch every single movie that come out, and now it's all truth videos and
Yeah,
presentations and
yeah.
podcasts.
Oh, yeah, I don't even remember which last movie I watched. Is there are people
Yeah.
who
Nice.
consume and there
Me
are
neither.
people who are there to make it go ahead. So, you can waste your time how you want. So
Mm-hmm.
the people,
Yep.
it's so easy on the social media now to be just so lost with all the disinformation, all the entertainment and all the,
Yeah,
The
it's so
TikTok.
distraction.
easy. Yeah. Yeah, it's so many distractions that for the majority it's quite difficult to even focus on reality and truth and really try to make sense because there is so much of about the same topic we could get so many different opinions, views, and different side of the story, so it's much more difficult to make up your mind.
I always say we're in the age of
Right.
Aquarius. That's the age of knowing. And in your right hand, you have the oracle. You can either use it for debauchery and
Yeah,
useless entertainment, or you can use it to gain knowledge. It's all there. You can go both ways.
yeah.
Oh
When
yeah.
they opened up these doors, it was a double-edged sword for them. They
Exactly.
couldn't open up half the doors. They had to open up all of them.
That's
Now they're
right.
trying to close them. So hopefully
Okay.
we just keep opening them, sort of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, just
Mm.
wanted to say to Mark, have you heard of realtruthseekers.com? I don't know if you can see the screen right now.
Realtruthseekers.com. No, I have not seen that.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see the screen what I'm
I
and
can.
and our show is also right there. It's a platform. It's an independent platform for all the censored stuff could be found here. you
Oh,
know
cool.
and reaching with maximum people reach with different platform, different social media. You see, it's even conspiracy guru is here. Is many different content creators are here, and there's a specialist section for flat earth. And yeah, and the ones who are the creator of this platform would also want you to join the platform if you want, because it's so easy. You just have to make your channel and just link your YouTube video. That's it. You just have to link. You don't need to upload. So you have a
Oh, cool.
backup of your whole channel here. And there's also a book section where already there's your one of your books here. I don't know if you can
Yep,
see
I see that.
Flat Earth Clues. Yeah. So you have everything you could put up here. You would have like any other sites of yours. You're going to have one more place where you have all your stuff there, with your books, with all your content. You can even open up a shop. So the admin team would like that you would join someday.
Yeah. Remind me. Send me an email, and I'll look it over.
Awesome, brother. Awesome. Keith, you want to add something before we continue?
Well, I think with this new Top Gun Tom Cruise movie coming out, there's a good opportunity to promote Flatten the Curve on a bunch of the social media sites, and just kind of troll them for fun. Something like, real commercial and military pilots versus professional paid liars. What do they know? And I'm going to have a lot of fun with that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, speaking about flatten the curve and on the professional, Mark, your name Mark Sargent. Sargent. It sounds like you had something to do with the army, or it's just the name.
It is, well, it's spelled differently. So no, it was from my father's side, Sargent, which is I think from England, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it sounds like a military name, and I got a lot of grief for that as a child, a lot, because most people don't know how to spell it anyway, but it sounds exactly the same. So no. No.
So
Kids
it's
will pick
nothing.
on
You
any.
have never been in that profession and nothing. So
I joined. Well, I was a big. I liked war movies, and I liked a lot of cool. I was a big action movie guy, so I joined ROTC in university, which I thought would be kind of fun. But I just didn't. It wasn't really for me. But I got it. I understood it. In fact, most of the people in ROTC were military kids, from military families, and I wasn't. So.
I'm glad you didn't take it too far.
Yeah. I mean, I could have. I absolutely could have, but it just wasn't. It wasn't for me.
all right. No, because I
Well,
saw one of your video where you were passing some kind of a slip where it says the Earth is flat. So I think what was the first one of your first video that I saw.
Was I doing street activism?
No, it was somewhere that it's like you have a slip in your hand, a paper where you are writing, and you're like kind of showing to the people the Earth is flat. Like in a way.
Huh. It's hard to
Uh,
say. I've been doing this now for 7 years, and it's been I've done a lot of different things, but very possible. I also get confused with a
yeah.
lot of
So
different people. People email me. I still have people to this day email me and think that I've done other things, but that's all right.
it does get confusing keeping people straight when
And
you
it
yeah,
have
can do.
it could be possible.
just
Yeah.
no face
I
to
mean,
put to the name at times.
there's so much content out there now. I
Hmm.
mean, and none of, despite the censorship that is out there in some places, YouTube channels aren't taken down, for example, for having flat Earth, which is still nice. Although they did take away my
Oh yeah, I was.
monetization. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, these people are crazy. I was looking for Flat Earth Clue right now to play in the background, and only comes your channel, but your video below is not coming. It's all debunking Flat Earth right away, right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of them.
That's why I usually tell people, I go, don't even bother looking for the clues. Just type in Flat Earth Mark, and you'll find me. And Dave Weiss from DITRH, he has to do the same thing. Like he'll say Flat Earth Dave or Flat Earth David.
Oh yeah, they try the best. That's why we have this is for us. This site is a savior, So all of our Flat Earth content creator are here and quite happy with the way it's going, and soon they're gonna have streaming services too. You could instead of YouTube, you could just directly do stream through here, and yeah. So even having few sites like this, which help to get the content, because the people don't mind seeing on YouTube, Facebook, or any other platform. They just want good content, and could be played easy and is accessible quite fast and good speed. So that's what people want, good quality. So the scene is changed. Before was only YouTube and Facebook was in the scene. They want to run the show. They had the traffic. They had everything. But right now things are changing. Everything. There's so many different sides of
Yeah.
streaming and doing things. So the technology is changing, and these people, they are continuing with their censorship and banning, but they don't realize that the, it's gonna lose interest.
Right.
They're gonna lose
Right.
a lot of. Yeah.
Yep, I hear you.
Anybody have any question? Francis, you wanted to ask Mark where he's.
Oh yeah. So you're from Whidbey Island, I saw, Mark. I live on Whidbey Island too. I'm here in Oak Harbor.
What, are you kidding?
No, I'm here.
I was just at Oak Harbor. I was just at the Island Cafe no more than 2 hours ago.
Oh, that's crazy. We should go get a coffee or some lunch, man.
Yeah. I had
would be
no
amazing.
idea. Have you been in Oak Harbor long?
Yeah, since 1994. I moved here with my father in the military, and I've just kind of been here ever since.
Oh, of course. Yeah, because Oak Harbor is a Navy base. That's awesome.
Yep. Yeah,
Probably
so
hear
that's
each other's
cool.
horn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a small island.
Just send me an email. We'll get together. That's so weird.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'd be an honor.
Yeah, it's a small island. I mean, it's very narrow, but it's long.
Right.
So
Right.
it's so yeah. I don't even get up. I only get up to Oak Harbor maybe once a month. But
How long is it?
It's 45 miles, give or take.
Yeah,
That's
somewhere
a-
around there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of curve in 45 miles,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
saying.
It's a weird place. You can see Canada from Oak Harbor very easily.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? How far away is that?
Canada?
Yeah.
Oh, short. Maybe 20, 30 miles tops.
Yeah.
Yep. And they have a ferry just off the island in Anacortes that'll take you over there.
I have taken that ferry several
Yeah.
times because I used
Nice.
to. I spent a year in Sydney. So,
Nice.
Victoria. So I took the Anacortes to Sydney boat. One of the most beautiful boat rides ever.
Oh wow.
It's a 3-hour ferry boat ride, and it's so cool. It's so casual. You go through the islands. So yeah, fun stuff.
Somebody's getting a lot of feedback in their mic, I'm hearing. I don't know if that's just me or
Yes.
Oh.
Feedback for me just went away, actually. I was
Oh,
gonna
okay.
So we got an echo too. So just if someone is not speaking, just mute the mic. Okay. Just
Right.
let me see. All right. Yeah.
So I was going to bring up.
So yeah, that's great that you both are living. Yep,
You know
go
how
ahead.
you asked Mark about what was his big clue for the flat Earth that led him to it? Well, mine, believe it or not, was I had a bunch, but the big one was actually realizing NASA was lying, because then the question came up: why are they lying? And it helped me better believe, because I was back and forth. Is it true? I kind of knew it, but in the back of my head, I was like, no, they can't be lying. But when I found out that NASA was lying and hiding it all, it just really was like, oh, that's it. I mean, if they're, it's the NASA helps the flat Earth. They kind of both help each other, because they're both big deceptions.
Sure. I can't believe guys out there cheering the Parker space probe. It's incredible.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, guys, stop. Listen to
the James Webb thing. Those are. I just look at it, it's like, goodness gracious, they're still falling for it.
so crazy. And
Mark, I'm sorry, Francis.
Yes.
Francis, you are a merchant marine, brother. How can it take you so long by being so much in the water, so flat? There was never going to be any curvature, so
You just don't. It's like you're. What is that Men in Black thing? That line that says, "Human beings are presented. They accept the reality that they're presented." So the question never came in my head until I started seeing the flat Earth documentaries, and then it was like, oh yeah. Like I said, I even seen contacts like 30 miles out, and everybody was like, "Wow, that's impossible." And the mate was like, "The math doesn't lie," and it just goes right over your head. But as soon as they say the power comes in the form of a question, not an answer.
That's great. It's great to present questions rather than answers.
Yeah, you get more from a question. Yep.
Yeah,
And that's the thing. When I knew NASA was lying, the main question was why? Why would they be lying? And it all makes sense.
I don't remember if I shared with you guys when I was on a couple times ago, but I had a face-to-face personal conversation with someone here locally that worked at NASA for 20 years. And I could tell he was making some statements that sounded like a conspiracy. And I go, hey, let me ask you, is NASA legitimate or fraudulent? And he said, well, it's both. He said, what they do at Cape Canaveral with all the rockets, that's fraudulent. That's just a show. But their real work is secretive, and that's with the military. What they're really.
Oh yeah, I bet.
So I wonder what kind of show, if that's what they're showing us and it's not secret, if they're doing something they're not saying. So that's a secret. Like rockets to the new Tower of Babel, though, because they know buildings are never going to reach the sky. So
I'm sure they're working with anti-gravity type. Like there's a lot of experiments that people are figuring out that everything is magnetic and the way that gravity actually works. I'm sure they already know how to defy that and get past the typical rocket engines. And
speaking about NASA, there are a few people that have come out from NASA. We know that the first guy, what was the first guy's name, who is also quite known. Mark, maybe you remember the one who was.
Say that one more time.
Yes, Matt Powerland.
The first guy from NASA, Matt Powerland. Yeah, Matt Powerland. We got Cindy Holland, and then we've got Cindy. I heard then I've even heard Jay Tolan also used to work for NASA.
Oh, did he?
Jay Tolan Media, yeah.
He's the guy who does the
but Matt,
the airplane flight.
Matt didn't. In all fairness, Matt Boyland, otherwise known as Matt Powerland, I don't think he actually worked for NASA. I think he worked for a guy who worked for NASA.
Contract
sub of a sub.
There's a little degree of separation there, which most people will remove, and I think he did too, which was because he's a hell of a painter, and I think he was helping a guy who worked for NASA. I think he was helping him paint some of the interior stuff in his house, because Matt can be very creative, and then he was invited to some NASA parties, and then the story goes on from there. So just to let you know.
What happens at the party stays at the party.
Well, it should have, but Matt
So and then also
go ahead.
Yeah, then we
Lost you.
Vikka, brother. He'll be back.
Okay.
So how many do you think people? How much people are in on it? Do you think there?
What at NASA? Almost no one.
Right.
Almost no one. Even and I only say that because you wouldn't want to tell the people that were
Right.
in on it. You know,
Yeah.
meaning the guys that everyone that works on the fuel systems or the electronics or I don't know, HR or anybody like that, they don't need to be in on it. Even
Right.
the astronauts only need to know that they're faking something.
So,
And
do you remember the SpaceX launches? They would have those two young guys sitting there talking.
Yeah.
They seemed so awkward, and I could have swore they knew what was going on.
Well, maybe I kind of was wondering if they just couldn't believe what they were looking at.
Yeah, that too. It one or the other. It definitely looked that way.
So suspicious looking. And then
Exactly.
when Elon Musk launched his little car into space and said that it looked so fake it had to be real. Oh, just
How can nobody get that, man? He's telling you right to your face.
Yeah, and then maybe some of you guys too young, but there was a movie called Heavy Metal back in the 80s, and
Oh,
it
yeah,
showed
yeah.
the car flying around in space, different
Oh,
cars.
you're right.
yeah,
Oh,
the
geez, help
the
us,
Corvette
please.
convertible.
Right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was such a pre-prediction programming of softening up to the blows of what they're going to call reality.
I never made that correlation. Yeah, I've watched that. It's like a cartoon movie type thing.
Yeah. And they show a big court scene, and the whole movie's pretty crazy. But yeah, the one opening scene, a great soundtrack too. To that
Yeah. Was it Meatloaf?
It's not heavy metal like crazy Slayer stuff, but it's some nice Eagles and some good music on that soundtrack.
Yeah.
Sammy Hagar.
Yep.
Hey,
So where is that car? Is it still in orbit? Did it make the sun
No,
yet?
the Tesla. No, supposedly they changed its trajectory and it's on its way to Mars.
Oh, it's going to meet up in Mars with the rover.
And they turned off the cameras before it even left orbit. And I was like, why would you turn the cameras off? All the cameras were working perfectly. And they were like, oh, well, you know, the batteries were running low. I was like, what are you talking about? It was attached to a capsule. The batteries were never going to run out.
Right.
And that's because they didn't want to deal with that sort of footage where, you know, the Earth was, becoming smaller and smaller in the background.
All the necessary cameras go down at the right time, though. That's part of it. Guarantee the cameras go down.
That car pissed me off in so many ways because there were so many things wrong with it.
Yeah.
And
everything. Well, it was never tested for space hardening or whatever.
Well, and again, it didn't have there was a couple things that got me, but there was something that Patricia said that I didn't think about. She goes, you know, since it's the only car that's ever been in space, she goes, why isn't that made into a poster or a big banner at all the Tesla dealerships?
Right.
And I go, and it's like, and in fact, why didn't any other car company try to put a car into space?
Why didn't the president speak about it? You figured the president would have talked about
it. Or take it one step further, why weren't there any logos on the car? You know, you had Tesla and SpaceX, and there was
Sorry, guys.
You
guys hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, there was no Tesla logo and there was no SpaceX logo anywhere to be found. Anywhere. It was almost like they were making it generic and say in case something went wrong.
Right, that they could just say, "Oh, it was a big joke."
Yeah, it was a big joke. It wasn't real. But it got a little traction, but I haven't run into anyone that is willing to die on that cross. Yeah, there were people who were like, "Oh no, it was absolutely real," and then I try to break it down for them, and they'd be like,
Yeah, so it used to say on Google when you looked it up, the Falcon Heavy was a test dummy load. That's what when I looked it up, and their test.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. What got me was that the Falcon Heavy was never anywhere to be found once the car got into orbit. Meaning, when the thing went up, it was some of the greatest editing I've ever seen, which is like, and we're gonna follow the boosters down, booster 1, booster 2, and then cut to car. And I'm going, where's the Falcon Heavy? Where's the thing that actually jettisoned the car itself? Forget about the boosters. Where's the main column? And and it all of a sudden occurred to me, it's like, oh, right. It's because they didn't want to have that thing tumbling in the background because it was too hard to do.
Yeah, they had to edit that.
Impossible to do
It'd be an
that.
editing nightmare.
Well,
So they was like, oh no, here's the car. And it's like, what happened to the booster? To the main column. It's like, the what now?
Yeah, exactly. Like the stars, they don't put the stars in because it's just more they have to, it's easier just to make you forget about it.
Yeah.
We could track the stars, and when the stars are off, that's too complicated to reproduce.
Yep.
So they're like, yeah, I forgot it.
Yeah.
And didn't Facebook have that launch live and edit it after that? So,
YouTube did. Yeah. In fact, Jaron, I remember, was really upset that they were streaming it, right? And they caught the fact that the boosters, someone made a mistake. It only takes one guy to make an idiot mistake.
Right.
That's right.
Both boosters were using the exact same camera footage, and they've got it recorded. We've got it. We've got multiple copies.
Yeah, I remember that.
Somebody went into YouTube after the fact and changed it. And
Mhm.
you want to,
That's right.
it's like, okay, it's like, who has the power that, it's a Donald Sutherland line from JFK. Who has the power to do that sort of thing? To go into YouTube and actually make edits after, no one ever can, I don't care if you have 10 million subs, you can't go in after the fact and edit a video.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. The person who owns the channel can't do it. It's impossible.
No.
So does our community have the original footage before they edit it?
Yeah, you bet we do. Sure.
Oh man.
Yeah, we've got. I mean, it doesn't. You're not gonna. The average person wouldn't know what they were looking for.
Right. They're too mesmerized by the magic show.
Yeah, the fact that you would even try to land boosters that way, first off, using pulse detonation engines, and land like, and it's like, why would you be reusing space parts anyway? The stress on those things would be horrible. Why to save a few bucks? No, NASA's never been known to saving a few dollars.
Did you see the Blue Origin launch? It had glitches in the rocket when it was going up.
Oh yeah.
It glitched out and everything.
That is why, by the way, I posted, and I'm so glad it was sent to me. I can't remember who sent it to me. The Space Cadets show from 2005 from the UK, which I posted on my channel. Somebody broke that down, which is, a lot of people don't know this because we never did a version over in the States, where over in the UK they did a reality show where they pretended to start up a British space program, and they brought in about a dozen people. 3 of them were hired actors, and convinced these people not only that they were in the space program, but that 3 of them actually were orbiting the Earth. They put them in a simulator and convinced them of this. It was absolutely brilliant.
Oh my God.
And they did it all for under £5 million. Roughly $6 million. And it's like, their production value was even better than NASA's. That gets $55 million a day. So yeah.
So if they could trick people doing that, they could these flights up to space.
Yes,
they could trick people, and these people will have.
Absolutely, they could. Yeah. And these people, I felt so bad for them, because the 3 that supposedly went up there, what they did was they took the simulator and then they reeled the simulator into this giant sound stage with this big audience. And it was like, and once they shut it down, they opened the capsule, and these people walked out. Remember, not 30 minutes earlier, they thought they were in space, and they opened up the door and they're in a freaking sound stage.
Wow.
And the people they were shattered in some ways, but the other they took it pretty well.
I don't know if you guys have heard the latest one from NASA. I don't know if it's a joke about those the shark volcanoes. I don't know if it's really a joke or something.
The what?
A volcano underwater that has some shark from ancient species that are coming out from the volcano. I don't know where the hell did they. In the Pacific, this thing. That's the latest one from NASA.
Oh God.
Yep. Yeah, you're not on Facebook, right, Mark?
I am not. I'm somebody does stuff for me on Facebook. The only thing I ever maintain myself is YouTube, and even that, I'm only 99% on it because other people I give them access. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. I mean, yeah, NASA now, it's just a drumbeat of constant space stories, constant. Oh, and by the way, that thing down below. Hey, Mark, do you think the truth of flat Earth is the true cause of the Great Reset? Yeah, I do. That was something that DITRH asked me a couple of years ago when this whole thing was starting. And he buzzed me up and he goes, "Hey," he goes, "Do you think we caused this? All this madness that's going on?" And normally I'd laugh a question like that out of the room, but at the same time, I'm like, it wouldn't surprise me given how much of an impact the flat Earth community has had.
Yeah.
I mean, we've done
that's a good point, because I think this took off way bigger and more furious than they ever thought.
We were
6 or 8 years ago.
Yeah, in 2019, you got to remember, we could do no wrong. I mean, we were just lighting up the internet. We had conferences, and I mean, hell, I did conferences in 2019, 7 countries. I opened a conference that wasn't even a flat Earth conference over in Stockholm. And it's like, why am I doing this exactly? I mean, then it's like, well, because we want to shake things up. Flat
Bringing
Earth
the truth
is really cutting edge. I'm going, okay, sure, I'll do that.
That's great.
And then I'm not kidding you. You get, some of you probably already knew this one. I mean, I was on my way to England to shoot a commercial, and before I even got on the plane, they're like, "Yeah, sorry, the borders are shut down." It's like, what? Beginning in 2020, and that was it. It was, now we were in this whole new thing. Yes, but sorry, long answer to a short question. Yeah, I do think that flat Earth has opened up more minds than probably everything else combined. So we are the ultimate red pill.
Yep. And now you see it on TikTok and YouTube. It's prevalent everywhere. There's just all different types of people are doing their own channels, and it's not as hidden as it used to be.
No. I mean, and the documentary, even though a lot of people hated it, and I don't blame them, it exposed, it gave people an excuse to talk about it, especially for journalists. Before, journalists, it's like, well, we have to talk to some flat earthers, but they're pretty crazy. And then once the thing came out, they're like, well, Netflix did it, so how toxic could it be?
Right.
And then you can find it everywhere, which is awesome. It was pretty cool.
So you're speaking about behind the curve, Mark, right?
Yeah.
So what idea you had before you got into the project? Like, could you explain, like, how did they approach you, and what idea you had, and what was the outcome according to your view?
It was actually going pretty much how I thought it was going to, which was they contacted me. It wasn't Netflix. It wasn't just because you see something that says produced by Netflix doesn't mean that Netflix really had anything to do with it, other than they threw money at it to put it on their network. This was a small LA film team that was doing this as a side project, and they said, "Hey, we'd like to do a human interest piece on this." And I knew exactly how they were going to lay it out. It was like everything else. Like, okay, introduce character 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Show the pros and the cons, and then get them all together for the big conference at the end. That's how it's going to go. And what happened was, when they got to the conference, and I didn't know this, because there was a director's commentary on the iTunes version, and I listened to it, and it's pretty boring, pretty dry. And it got to the point where the conference, where I was up there, and a 12-year-old kid was asking me a question from the audience, right? I was on stage, and they all of a sudden, during the director's commentary, they all said, it's like, yeah, this is the point where we had to take a stand. We against flat Earth. And I'm like, what? Well, you guys never told me this.
Wow.
And what the reason was is because they didn't want, when you're messing with the kids, you're messing with the future.
I know.
Yeah.
All fun and
always
games
the kids
until you're telling the kids that the Earth is flat. It's like, one, I didn't get that kid to skip school. It was the parents that brought him.
Can you imagine that? That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. But the problem was they didn't have enough money to reshoot anything. So they had to do it in editing. I mean, the movie was basically done.
Right.
So they went back in editing and spun it in a way where that you could tell that the movie people, because none of the producers had anything to do with flat Earth at all.
Wow.
So when it came out, but I got to tell you, it worked in that the audiences felt safe watching it,
Yeah.
Meaning, I sat with these audiences, and if you go use like a drug reference, it wasn't pure uncut flat Earth, so the audiences weren't getting overwhelmed. There's like flat Earth. Okay, good. There's a scientist.
Yeah, exactly.
Flat Earth. Oh, okay, there's a psychiatrist. Okay, that's fine. and they just kept going back and forth to where finally you could but what got me was, again, the first 20-30 minutes of the movie, most people did not think it was real. I mean, they thought it was a piece of docufiction, and then all of a sudden they realized, so like 30 minutes in, I sat with them, and they're like, wait a minute, there's something really big and scary on the internet, and I've never heard of it before, and it's real, and what the hell is happening? And by the time the movie ended, even though the Jaren thing at the end, and that was complete editing magic there.
Yeah, it just ended so abruptly.
But they were so overwhelmed at that point, they didn't even know what had happened. Meaning, I sat in groups, focus groups, where they're like, it's like, you know what happened at the end of the movie? It's like, it was bad, right? It's like, do you know what the experiment was? Like, no, but it was bad, right? And in Jaren's, people have heard this, but Jaren, God love him. Only months later did I see him doing a live stream during the day from that exact spot that they shot the documentary, the laser experiment. And he's out there and he's going, what do you know? We don't have line of sight. And it's like, wait, you never went out there during the day to see if it was actually level? You just took a live film team out there, and it's like, oh, it'll be fine. And twice you did this during at night. And so, but he, I will say this, he did admit to that mistake. He goes, which is why it's called a dry run. You do it on your own with no one around, just so you know what you're looking at. You don't bring a film team in. It's like, okay, you're going to sit up here, and in theory, this should go over there fine.
And wasn't he under the impression that he was going to get to go through and look at the stuff? Yeah, they kind of tricked him in.
Well, he was one of the few people. I knew they weren't going to do it. He was one of the few people, other than Matt Boylan, Matt Powerland, who asked for, oh my God, he asked for so many things. But Jaren says, I want the ability to edit the footage. Now, I don't think there's a documentary team in the world that would ever allow that, because then you get into these weird creative arguments, and no one would ever, Bob would never, because it's a never ending process. Once Jaren started editing stuff, he would pass it off to Bob, and Bob would be editing his stuff, and the movie would never come out.
Weren't they supposed to even they're supposed to get copies of all the footage, so if they wanted to, they can go back and edit one on their own.
Yeah,
and
they were good.
They just kept everything.
Once Netflix bought it, once it was sold to Netflix, Netflix then said, it's like, sorry, you had that agreement with those guys. That agreement doesn't apply here.
Right.
Then it just got lost in red tape, and no, it was never gonna. But again, it generated a huge amount of buzz, and we didn't win. It was weird, we didn't win any of the film festivals that we went in, but we always placed. We were always in the top 10 of the movies that you want. And I remember it was the same year A Star Is Born with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. And I remember it was like, we were, neck and neck with those guys. Like, oh, if you want to see a movie, watch The Star Is Born. If you want to see a documentary, it's Flat Earth. No one else remembers any other documentaries from really that year. So
that's great. That's all we needed, though. I mean, is that we needed to get it out there and get it in people's minds.
Oh yeah, and it generated a huge amount of buzz, and again, it made people feel safe to watch it at home or in the theater. So many people. I mean, I watched where even the title "Behind the Curve," right? Meaning the people that are in it are kind of slow. Even that was a safe deal. It's like, oh, I can go in and
I didn't even get that correlation.
I won't feel dumb going in and watching this movie to make fun of flat earthers. And I'm like, oh God. I mean, that was the angle. And seriously, the director and the editor and the producers, none of them were on our team. None of them. And which worked out, because that was the first question that every time came up at the film festival. They went straight at the director and said, "Are you a flat earther?" And he absolutely sincerely said, "No, absolutely not." And and the audience was fine with that, because had he said yes, it would have turned into a whole
confirmation bias.
Yeah, a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
I mean, because we had to shut down a press thing in Toronto because why they don't listen to me, because Patricia and I went, right, and they said, oh, we're going to introduce you while you're in the audience, and I go, that's a terrible idea. I go, you do not want to tell people in the audience there's flat earthers sitting with them. You don't want to do this.
And their lives are in danger.
Yeah, they're waving me off like, no, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And it's like, oh no, it won't. And sure enough, when they get up there, it's like, oh, by the way, Mark and Patricia are sitting right over there, and you can hear all these necks just turn in unison. It's like, what? They're there, and all of a sudden I hear somebody go, "Get them a mic."
Nice.
You know, we're sitting up there with microphones, and no one cared about the people that made the movie anymore. They just kept asking us questions, and finally, it's like, all right, we're gonna shut the whole thing down. We moved out to the lobby. They had to kick us out of the lobby.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're people.
That's awesome.
You know that when people get into flat Earth, that's one of the processes. Is once they start going down the rabbit hole, it's like, okay, I don't believe in flat Earth, but I have a whole bunch of questions. Yeah. Because their way of saying, I'm not going to believe in it until you can start answering some of these things and you start ticking off these boxes.
So the people at the fence.
Yeah. Yeah. And so again, that's how I got into it, which was I wasn't even going to release the clues until I was satisfied that I could answer in some capacity everything that was thrown at me that I could think of. And that took a while. That took months. Yeah. To do it.
You know, I don't know where I heard it, but you know, you say the saying going down the rabbit hole. Yeah. It should be more or less we're coming out of the rabbit hole, because the rabbit hole is a never-ending maze of lies. And coming out into coming out of it, you come out to reality.
You know, that's a good t-shirt. Coming out of the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That's good. Or leaving the rabbit hole. Or what? Yeah,
leaving the rabbit hole.
Yeah, because
it reminds me how they present everything backwards, because they sent us down the rabbit hole, didn't they?
The inversion, yeah.
Yeah. Once you get into this, you revisit every other conspiracy that you'd ever thought of in your life, but you're doing it from a different perspective.
Exactly.
Every subject that we got taught has to be revised and
The Wonderland is not inside the hole. The Wonderland is outside the extra land.
Outside the hole. That's right.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Guys, we're gonna take a short break and we'll be back. All right, guys. Just a short break.
Okay, sounds good.
All right.
Excellent.
My name is Joshua Silva. I am a licensed commercial pilot and flight instructor. I have had a lifelong love of aviation and aerospace, and when growing up I even fancied myself an amateur astronomer.
Number one, I'm a pilot, and when I used to fly out of Long Island towards Nantucket, bottom line here is they're going to give you some type of formula for every 100 miles. They're going to give you some type of XYZ per kilometer squared.
Been in aviation for 21 years. Anything from helicopters to aerostats to big birds, little birds, fighter jets, things with engines, no engines, big blades, little blades, compressor blades.
I woke up to the truth of the flat Earth, shape of the Earth, as an engineer and a pilot.
I'm a merchant marine. I've been sailing 15 years. I graduated from the Paul Hall Maritime Center out of Piney Point, Maryland. I primarily sail on container ships, tankers, drill ships, military cargo vessels. You name it, I can sail on it.
Work experience. I joined the Navy when I was 17 years old. I had a secret security clearance. There's different levels of security clearance. There's a lower level, then there's a secret, which is what I had.
I'll be providing my in-depth experience of U.S. Navy submarines and how they prove we do not live on a globe Earth. However, due to the nature of my job, and the security clearance that I hold, I wish to remain anonymous.
All right, welcome back, guys, to the show. What an awesome show and guest we have today. I'm gonna give a quick shout out to the people in the chat. We've got Mike Zudnik, we've got Zeus Cat, Jess Palmer, RTS Update, J Daddy, hello brother, how are you? Alan Nostrand, we got Patrick, then we've got New Drops. Who else? We got Stephanie Campbell, Kevin Bobick. Hey, Kevin, also from Flatten the Curve. Big shout out to you, brother. Then we've got Tom Buddha, Better Than Gold, Uliasis Burgos, Rachel Everson, and then we've got Gregory Lessing Garrett. Hey, Gregory, a big hello to you. Make sure to check out his books, guys. Gregory have more than 26, 30, or almost around 30 books.
Incredible.
To check him out.
Yeah, absolutely, guys.
We got Gary Towner from Fisherman in the Box. Then we've got Critical Inception. And J Daddy says Vikka was smart to keep editorial control on FTC. Exactly. We are the whole team, and the people who were doing the documentary, we all were flat earthers. And how Mark was saying that behind the curve, no one was a flat earther, so we could understand that they could manipulate it the way they want. And I know how the production house and filmmaking works. You know, once they record you doing something, they own it. You know, and they could put it right out of the context and do whatever they want. You know, and it's so easy, and nobody can screw them. Nobody can sue them. You know, so and especially in this age of editing and all the graphics and everything, you can literally make somebody even do that you have or say things that you have not said. You know, so we could understand what would have happened with Behind the Curve. But yeah, one thing was for sure: a lot of flat earthers who and didn't think or thought that it's not a flat earth movie, because most of them, I think, was thinking it's a flat earth movie. You know, and in the end, it's going to show that, yeah, there are some proof for the earth being flat, you know. So they just turned it so well there. Right, Mark?
Yeah. People don't understand the power of editing and what can be done. I mean, we shot off and on for 7 months, and they had to edit that down to about 100 minutes. And, you know, you can make it into anything you want. You know, go online, you could turn... you know, just in trailers, I remember years ago they used to have trailer competitions, and how you could make any movie, you know, with the power of editing, make a trailer for it in any format. And I think the winner in the first year was they made The Shining a romantic comedy with a trailer, and it was, you know, when you edit it a certain way. So yeah. It's called spin for a reason, but in the end, hey, we got a lot of traction out of it. And you know, when people say, "Oh, you know, you do anything to get the message out," I go, "Yeah, I would." I go, you know, when I shot that one commercial, you know, for that mobile company down in Australia, and people said, "Why'd you do it?" I go, "Are you kidding?" I go, "That's not the limit to it." I go, "You could have sat me in a chair, tied me to it, and throw pies at my face. As long as I could say flat earth on camera, I would have done it." So, in fact, at one point they said, "Are you willing to say that the world is a globe on camera?" And I said, "Nope, I will not, because I know what you guys would probably do with it." So, no.
Or negative publicity or positive publicity, both is good, you know, in the end.
Yeah. The official saying is, even negative publicity is free. And, you know, you can't. Well, I'll give you a great example, which was I put on the trailer for my channel. which was when Kyrie Irving, when he came out for Flat Earth, back in 2016, I think. That wasn't the big deal. What was amazing was that LeBron James, we got him on camera saying during a press conference, asking about Flat Earth when he was asking Kyrie. I mean, we could have walked up to LeBron with $5 million in a briefcase. He never would have said Flat Earth on camera. And we got him to do it for free in front of all these cameras. It's like awesome.
Yeah.
It's really, really great. So
they had to walk all that back, didn't they?
No. Shaq walked it back. Now LeBron didn't believe in it. He just was accepting of it that his point guard was willing, was into it. When you win a championship, everybody's, it's all roses. Nobody cares. Right. When Shaq got into it, though, that was a whole different thing because Shaq believed it. But people don't understand that Shaq makes more money now than he ever did playing.
Oh yeah,
I mean he makes $20 million a year in
general,
just off of icy hot
everywhere, and so all it takes is one company like Arizona Tea Company call his agent up and say, yeah, you really got to have him start retracting stuff. And the next thing you know, he's on Jimmy Kimmel, and I have never seen an interview ever where he sits down and the first words out of Jimmy Kimmel is like, oh, hey, how's it doing? How was your flight out here? Blah, blah, blah. No. It was, so you were kidding about that flat earth thing, right? That was the first words out of his mouth. It's like just to make sure that was for his sponsors so that he wouldn't leave any sponsor,
get that right out of the way.
Yeah. But everybody else was good. So our number one athlete, though, even though Kyrie Irving probably makes more money a year, maybe technically, no, my favorite is Novak Djokovic, the number one tennis player in the world. He's one of ours.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
But he's subtle about it. We've got photographs where he posted it on Twitter, but he didn't tweet the flat earth thing. He just held up a hand-drawn image of the flat earth with some words on the image, and he didn't do an interview. He's smart that way.
Kyrie, what about Matthew McConaughey?
Well, Matthew
he did that thing where he was talking to the flat earthers, kind of like letting them know, hey, you know what I mean?
Talking in code is one thing. I mean, yes, in fact,
that's what they do.
Yeah, there are a bunch of celebs out there that would love to come out, but they are worried about the backlash. And of course,
they destroy their careers.
Backlash. Kyrie Irving got huge. Kyrie Irving, the only reason he came out is because he was 24. He had just
happy about that.
He had just won a championship. He had LeBron's his best friend. And he's like, what do I got to lose? It's like, dude, you have no idea what you've done, because the press just wouldn't leave him alone. Other athlete and the rest of the celebrities like the same way. I mean, they're curious about it, but there's an agent out there that would allow an A-lister to just come out and say that without some sort of, it's like just put it under the radar.
Suicide.
You're because
the man in black will show up.
Yeah, it's almost considered a political view in a sense. It's like, but it covers everything. It's not Democrat or Republican or Roe v. Wade or any of this other stuff. It's flat Earth. Everyone's got an opinion on it. So yeah. But it's been fun watching everybody kind of wave the flag. And I mean, the fact that Jimmy Kimmel trolled our conference in Dallas.
That was great.
People were angry about it, but it's like hey, when the Late Show actually does a 7-minute segment on you, it's still, you're you're generating a whole bunch of.
Why do they got to be so mad about it? I don't understand why it gets so upset.
Well, it's the
they have a lot to lose.
It's the Neo thing. You remember the line in the Matrix that we only free minds after a certain age, because of how angry Neo was when he first found out. It's like he's gonna pop. Yeah, I mean that's that way. There's a line. Here, I'll do it for you really quick, which is every other conspiracy you can bury in the desert, right? If you don't care about JFK or 9/11 or Roswell or anything else, you don't have to look at it. But if you come to somebody and say, yeah, the world that you're living in right now isn't the world that really is, people freak out because they can't run away from that. You've got to resolve it one way or the other. It's almost like telling somebody after the age of 30 that you're adopted. And
that's a good one.
you break that to them, and their first response is like, "Get out of here! No, no, no!" And then the second they start even hinting that direction, like all of a sudden it ripples back in time where it's like, "Wait a minute, who were those people?" It's like, "Do I remember a basket? What the hell?" You really you have a hard time dealing with that. So yeah, no, I don't blame them. But think about this, everyone here is on the same page. But I mean, when I first found out about it, I mean, I'm literally banging my head on the keyboard, going, no, 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 no. There's no way I can't be off by this much. There's no. Why am I even entertained?
How long did?
Sorry, go ahead.
How long did it take you from your initial introduction to the
9
time
months.
you really? 9 months. Okay.
Yeah, it took me 9 months. It took me much longer than the average person because I had no content to work with. I mean, I had Matt Boyle. I didn't know who Eric was, Eric Dubay.
That's right. I'm forgetting that. You didn't have Mark Sargent.
No, I didn't have Mark Sargent. So I was just, in fact, I was arguing against it privately for the most part, and then made the mistake one day of waking up in the middle of the night and saying, "Oh yeah, you know what? I'm going to go the other way and just make some clues." And the internet's really good about getting back to people. So I'll put my contact information out there. That's a smart thing to do. And then people will come back. I didn't mind taking the shot. So, people want to come back like, "You're an idiot. Here's why." And they, X equals blah, blah, blah. And you forgot to carry the 2 and you can tear down your YouTube channel. I was perfectly fine with that. And the longer it went, I knew it was something special, because all the people that were contacted, but I had a mix of people. I had subject matter experts that were calling me. I had general people that were calling me, and then I had media that started calling me. It was this escalating media. I mean, the like Coast to Coast contacted me in 2 months after I'd released the clues, and I didn't really know much about Coast to Coast.
Art Bell?
No, it was
George Norrie.
And his producer called me, and there was such a strange phone call where where the lady goes, "All right, tell me your blah 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 about flat Earth," and I go, I'm trying to see. She goes, "You know what? Do you have a DVD?" I go, "No." She goes, "Do you have a book?" And I go, "No." She goes, "What's your website?" And I go, "I don't look. I've only been doing this for a couple of months. I don't really have any idea what I'm doing." And she goes, "Why am I talking to you?" And she goes, and I go, "You called me." I go, "I don't know. Why are you talking to me?" She goes, "All right." She goes, give me your nickel tour." She goes, "Go. I'll give you 5 minutes." And so I went blah 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 blah. And she goes, "All right, you're on next Thursday." And I go, "Wow, really?" I mean, people don't understand that there are people that solicit Coast to Coast for years before they and flat Earth, not me, the flat Earth topic got in a very, very short amount of time. So that's when I knew it had legs. So anyway,
very nice. Congratulations.
Nice.
Good time.
Yeah. So
and through the social media, it's spreading much more faster. Maybe 15 years before, we didn't have so high-speed internet, so much connectivity, and so many people, so many social media platforms. So everybody wants to have the piece of cake, in a way, to make. Yep.
Yeah. So we couldn't have done this without social media. Absolutely couldn't have done it. In fact, YouTube, without YouTube, I don't know what we wouldn't have definitely been and having the same conversations we had now. What also changed was, and I hate to bring this up, but I probably should address it, is that we hit the wave at the right point, because there was all these channels that were out there, all these big channels. It's all about hits and numbers and likes and comments. And what they started figuring out was, because a lot of the big channels, they will look for trends. They have researchers that constantly look. It's like, what's hot?
What's coming up?
Flat Earth was molten. It was so hot, and they'd heard, the whispers got out there that if you made a flat Earth video, not only would you get a bunch of hits for it, but your comment section would just blow up.
Yeah,
it would really help your metrics, because people just fight it out. I mean, you'd get like an order of magnitude of comment, like 10 times as many comments as you normally would, and it just started working its way up the food chain to where PewDiePie and the Dawson, the Dawson brothers,
Mr. Beast.
Yeah. Everybody did a flat Earth video. I mean, freaking everybody did a flat Earth video at some point, and they didn't even know how to readdress it. They'd love to do more, but they didn't want to make it like a trend. So yeah, we hit it at just the right time to where, again, when you have a Senate hearing 3 years later, where they're trying, it's like, okay, what are we gonna address here? Oh well, misinformation on YouTube and flat Earth.
And we'll put a little banner on the bottom of all your videos.
Yeah, when you have a Wikipedia link that shows up,
you're on the right track.
Yeah, you're doing something right. And so when people say, "Oh, the censorship, that's it's bad and it's awful," it's like, look, we made them. We were their golden child for 3 straight years. So they were promoting us to no end. I go, they didn't shut down they didn't hit the brakes. They just took their foot off the gas.
Yeah.
And I mean, we had saturated the market anyway. I mean, everybody knew about it at this point. I mean, to where we were even considered, they were even delving into, they were going to, like, for example, the TV show The Amazing Race, they were going to do an all YouTube season, where nothing but YouTubers on there, and we were at the top of their list.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
But the whole thing fell through because a lot of people don't know this. When you shoot shows like that, there's a total media blackout, meaning when you're with them for like almost 2 months, you have no access to the internet for 2 months because they don't want anything getting leaked, and all the other big channels wanted compensation. So, like Shane Dawson and Logan Paul and those guys, because if you're not going to be on the internet for a month, I mean, that's their bread and butter.
Yeah.
And they said, sorry, we're not compensating people. So all those, everybody else dropped out. Flat Earth was totally fine. We're like, oh yeah,
that's because the flat Earth is there not to make money. They're there to spread the truth.
Right.
I don't know many people that are in the flat Earth to make money. They're in it to get the truth out.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, when like one of the first things I did when, because I still don't have an agent or anything like that. When I made money off that commercial, the first thing I did was helped fund the Global Euro tour that was going from England around Europe, because it's like, why wouldn't I do that? I mean, flat Earth was the reason I got to do some of the things I did. So some people monetize their channels and do stuff, but anyone that ever accused, oh, you're just doing this to get rich, it's like, yeah, get rich.
You're gonna get that rich, and then you get so famous, they're just gonna shut you down.
Yeah. I mean, there's internet fame. There's one thing, but I mean,
to make money is not easy. You have to have millions of subscribers and millions of views to have a good income through.
And
through social media. Even 100,000 is not gonna help so much. You're gonna have some views here and there. You have some channels which are monetized, but it's almost like nothing, So I think most of the flat earthers, as everybody say, that we are there for the truth, because the amount of time consuming and energy and the research and everything you do to put the content out and everything, people don't understand the amount of people like we spend to get the content out in a way than to get in, So
I'll give you a great testament to that, where that's a great point, which was when after the Senate hearings on, because the government has to get involved when we're there. When YouTube said we're going to recommend flat Earth less, the monetization dropped across the board about 70%, right? And so channels that were doing actually pretty well. I mean, even I had to admit, it's like, wow, this is actually not too shabby for what I was doing. When that dropped 70%, everybody in flat Earth was still doing what they were doing. Now other places would have just shut down, but we were like, we weren't in it. That's not why we were in the first place. It's like, it's nice, but that's not why we were doing it. I mean, again, nobody gets into it to make the money. So didn't matter what they did to us, we kept doing. I mean, hell, the fact that during the whole last 2 years of madness, we still had American conferences. and meetups and stuff like that. Why would you do that? Well, because we wanted to keep doing it, and give credit to Karen B for doing conferences, and making sure that we had conferences and venues that would allow us to do what we wanted to do. So yeah, no, Flat Earth is a great community. I love it.
Absolutely.
It really is.
Oh yeah. If we want to make money, we can make about a video about aliens. We could make some comedy stuff, whatever, and we're gonna make a lot of money for sure. Or the space CGI, fake space and ISS and all the promotions of NASA and all those announcements that never have any solution. All this shit. You could make really good money, and especially in this indoctrinated age that the majority consumes.
Yeah. In fact, we've got some. What I loved was we actually created, just without even thinking about it, dedicated troll channels that do pretty well. That are out there. People
sure.
Spend. I mean, bigger channels that. Well, I mean, they're fake subscribers. In fact, I'll tell you a quick story because I know we don't have that much time left, but I got to get this in. So Dave Weiss goes against Professor Dave recently. Some of you guys already know this.
I saw that.
Yeah, it was just an embarrassment. I mean, the guy, but I did not realize, because when they brought him in, I was just listening off in the corner. And when it's like, the host was like, and we're bringing in our biggest YouTube channel we've ever had with almost 2 million subs. I was going,
yeah,
Professor Dave, and I'm going, and I go, the what now? It's going, since when does he have 2 million subs? And then I go into the chat room, and there was maybe 900, 950 in chat
out of 2 million.
It was all us. All of it was us, and so that's when I had to call him out. It's like, okay, so you have 2 million subs and nobody's in chat at all. You guys, it's all.
I guarantee half those guys' view is somebody trying to go on real quick and debunk a flat earther. Like, oh, let me look this up. Oh yeah, here, this guy says that, and then that's it.
Yeah. Professor
dedicated viewers. I don't think he has the type of dedicated viewers.
They are bots. You can go out there. I did not realize this, and I know this is off topic just for a while, but I didn't realize that. If you guys want to know what we're talking about here, watch a wonderful documentary called Fake Famous that came out, I think, at the beginning of this year, which talks about basically anyone under the age of 30, because social media is so important to them. They will go out and buy the numbers just to be, it's like, I need to make a bigger impression online. And there are offshore companies that will sell you that. They will sell you likes, they will sell you subs, they will sell you comments.
Oh yeah, the Chinese companies, yeah.
Oh yeah,
you got hundreds and millions of likes.
I come from the gaming world. I that's where I played games for a living for years, and in-game currency was a thing. And who would have known that some brilliant offshore group, be it Chinese or whatever, would have said, "Hey, wait a minute! Isn't hits and likes? Isn't that like in-game currency? Can't we just farm that?" Yeah, we can. Can't we just sell it to the Americans? Yeah, we can. And they did. And so you got all these kids with these huge the number. I got to get this one thing out, which is that there was this one line in there where he goes, the documentary maker, he goes, you realize that on Instagram, and I'm not on Instagram, he goes, on Instagram there are millions of people on Instagram with at least 100,000 followers. And he goes, well, that's a problem because there's less than like 10,000 famous people in the world at any given time. So who are all these people? It's like, well, they're not real. But if you have 100,000 people, that hit on your thing, you get a lot more credibility, and it's power perceived. Brilliant.
Yep. It sounds like the click
sheep,
farm.
The what?
It sounds like the click farms.
It is. It is.
One person sits in front of 50 phones, and you got 50 people doing that, and 100 rooms doing that. That's a lot of clicks.
There are a lot of sheep out there, and the line. Back in the day, I'm older, I know. But, when we were asked growing up, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a fireman, a policeman. I want to be blah, blah, blah. All the kids, it was various answers. But now the kids basically answer one answer, which is, I want to be famous. And it's like, yeah, but for what? Like, what do you mean for what? I just want to be famous. It's like, yeah, but you got to be famous for something. You can't just sit there and be like, I'm famous.
Exactly. Yeah. Putting four photo outs and you're famous. It's not working like that. And as you say, Instagram is full of that shit. For example, speaking about the social media and Facebook, as I said, just today I reached 25,000 subscribers on Facebook. Subscribe. I mean, the followers, because in Facebook we have followers. And I tell you, it's 100% organic. For example, I had released a studio video yesterday, and Facebook is giving me an option to reach 3,000 people for $40, and that video has already reached more than 60,000 people, and Facebook is offering me on the same video $40 to pay $40 to reach 3,000 people. So you could literally buy this shit, So, but my page of Truth in Plain Sight on Facebook is 101% organic, view-wise, reach-wise, follower-wise, in all aspects, because we are giving that. Yeah, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, well, karma's a bitch, and people that it's like, the organic numbers are the best numbers. Yeah, they may be lower, but at least they're real, they're honest.
Oh yeah.
Everybody else, it's just shadows. Shadows, on the wall, and I don't feel bad. I mean, I am crawling to just to get 100K, and I'm hoping I get it before the world just collapses around me. But I mean, I know that's petty, but it's true. It's like, I want my plaque, and then I want to hear the air raid sirens. That's what I want to hear.
We will throw a party for you, bro.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Anyway,
everybody, go like and subscribe, everybody, please.
Anything
exactly.
else? I gotta head out soon.
Yeah, Mark. Any of your coming up project or anything you want to let the viewer know? What's coming ahead with you?
Yeah. I mean, first off, anyone wants to find me, I'm not going to give you all the different things because God only knows what's going to be censored. Just type in Flat Earth Mark into Google or YouTube or anything, and anything you'll probably find my stuff around there eventually. As far as upcoming projects, I'm hoping to do Flattoberfest with Karen B.
Where is that?
That's going to be in North Carolina in October.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I might be able to get to that. I'm going to try.
Yeah. I'm hoping that everything, that there won't be any weird restrictions, or
monkeypox.
Yeah, exactly. Don't get me started on that.
I live like a half an hour from Dave Weiss.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really close to him. Maybe an hour. And there's one of the guys from Flatten the Curve lives right near us too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, as soon as I hook up with Dave, I'm going to try and get us all together, the three of us. At least. Cool. Yeah,
very cool. But that's what I'm doing. Nothing real special. Just trying to. I mean, kind of been focusing this last 2 years trying to get people to not panic about what's been happening around them and not follow the mainstream narrative. Because
don't give it any attention, man.
Yeah. But that's what I've been kind of hyping on. But yeah, I'm trying to get back to the Flat Earth stuff in October, and until then, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing.
Mark, I wanted to mention that when I first got into Flat Earth, you, Jeranism, Crow, 777, all those Glowbusters, Patricia Steele, all those guys, Darryl Marble, we just spoke to him a month ago on this show. So I felt like a rock star when I was listening to YouTube and you were going through questions and you answered one of mine. You commented on one of mine, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, well, it's neat. Well, thank you. I mean, I there's a reason why I put my contact info out there, my phone number, my email, my social security number, bank routing number, all that stuff. Because it's the smart thing to do, and everyone should do that. No, but I want to talk to people, and I don't. I mean, I may not answer the phone all the time, but I will, try to call back and email. I try to email as many people back as I can, and so far it's worked. I've had very few trolls, and a lot of calls, double calls on my phone. They'll call the first time and they'll be like, "Holy crap, the answering machine works!" And then they'll call back and try to think of something clever to say, which is fun. But it's helped. I mean, I've gotten to do interviews, everything from major networks down to junior high schools, which is
very cool.
I mean, I've still never been invited onto a campus because as many of them say, "Oh, we got to get you in here," it's like, yeah, all you have to do is get the administration's approval. That'll happen.
Right, it's got to go up the line first.
Yeah, they don't, but that's fine. But no, it's been a great ride, and 7 years later, I wouldn't have changed a thing. So,
yeah, and
awesome,
and
awesome,
question
Mark.
What?
Yeah, the question.
Go ahead, Gene.
The question Mark addressed with me on his YouTube probably 6 years ago or so was about the moon phases never changing over the night. So how we were talking about the other night.
Yeah,
half a moon stays half a moon all night.
Yeah,
the Terminator line doesn't change.
Again, not to go on something you guys already know by heart, which was we only see one side of the moon, and no one's ever seen any other side of the moon. It's never changed a quarter of a degree in a century. So
the moon is for the months. It's for the days. 28 days, and that's where the word months are months.
Very cool.
Didn't know that.
Oh yeah, last week we had an awesome show also about the moon phases and the eclipse. If we discussed a lot of stuff, and also the one before was Antarctica treaty. Mark, if you want to check it out. Anyway, I want to say thank you, Mark, for taking out time for being here with us on Heliopsychosis. It was so much a pleasure to have you here, bro.
Yeah, it was a pleasure talking to all you guys. Great.
Did you have an email, Mark? Maybe we could if you're ever in Oak Harbor.
Just so you guys know, but I'll tell you here anyway. My email is msargent23@comcast.net. That's MSARGENT 23@comcast.net. But all my contact info, I mean all of it, is in the description box of every single video I make on YouTube. The description's the same, so I am easy to find. In fact, you could even just Google Mark Sargent's email. You'll find it.
So it's Sargent at Comcast.com?
Comcast.net.
Comcast.net. All right.
Yeah, we'll have lunch or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's terrific.
Good talking with you.
Anyway, guys, pleasure.
All right, Mark. Thanks, brother. Thanks for sharing the documentary and all the work you do for Flat Earth community, brother. Thanks.
Thank you. All right. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
All right. So, any last word before we guys wrap up?
No, just I watched your documentary on the moon, the one you had posted on there. That was really awesome.
Which one?
It was on your Facebook page.
Oh, the last one.
Last week.
Last one. Yeah. I think about a week ago.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
Okay, so tomorrow, Francis, tomorrow your section, your part is going to be released on my page. Only your part from the documentary, because once was released from Brett Freeman, the aeronautic engineer, and tomorrow is going to release your stuff. Only yours. Okay. So be
excellent.
Be on the lookout. You're
Yes,
gonna love it.
Always. And again, thanks for having me on here. I really enjoy it, and I watch a lot of the other guys, and and it's just a privilege to be on the podcast and be out there sharing the knowledge that I've come across, and just being able to. Yeah, it's a privilege. Appreciate it.
Thank you, brother. Yes, thank you for your contribution, brother. Yes. Keith, you want to add something before we wrap up?
I'll just say thanks for letting me join in again. It was a lot of fun, and I look forward to connecting with you guys again.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Keith, for joining. Jeannie, last word.
My brother, congratulations on your page. You're doing such great work. It's an honor to be here with you guys. Really, thanks, Vikka. It was a lot of fun. Always looking forward to the shows. I'd like to say to everyone in the audience, thanks for coming back. Thanks for being here for the first time. I hope you enjoy the show, and like, subscribe, and share. And thanks to RTS for the whole team of you guys over there doing everything you're doing too. Fantastic. And that's it. And guys, great to see you. Couldn't think of a better way to spend Friday night with everybody.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thanks, Jeannie. And yep, thank you everyone in the
brother.
chat. There was Cindy Holland also. Big shout out to you, Cindy. And there's also Flat Earth Nation, Carl Fletcher. A big hello, brother. So make sure you guys check it out next week, because next week also we have a very interesting guest. So this is Vikka Draziv signing out from Heliopsychosis podcasts. Bye, guys.
See y'all later.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.